In dev, can we move this now? Yes. Okay, it's going to install. I will send you all these details so that you have it. Now that it's in SFTP mode, it can write certain things to itself, and then it'll install a version of Drupal 8. And you can use just the minimum versions because you'll go in and make edits to this. So you just need to get it up and running with the basics that it needs to function. So a minimum version is fine. And then when we configure the site, let's make it something that you can remember. So choose a username and password, and you become the first person to be the admin on that version of the site. So again, the hosting is something like this. We'll call this the test. I'm going to just use your Green America. And this will be something that you can remember. And everything else can just stay the same for now. So what's happened now is you have created a install version of a Drupal 8 website, okay? And now you can play around with this, etc. And again, we're on the development environment of it. Now we'll commit that code. The site is now committed to install Drupal 8. Okay. So now we can move the whole site over to Git mode. And what I want to walk you through is how to take code from the live site and move it down to your site. So what I have is to your machine. So I have at this level of my machine another directory called working directory, and I put all my stuff into here. In dashboard, in Pantheon, you're going to switch to Git mode. When you switch to Git mode, it closes off the hosting so that nobody can use FTP to create files on it. And instead now it all has to be tracked using Git, which means there'll be a Git record of everything. Here are some records. What we're going to now do is on the test environment, on the dev environment, we're going to get this connection string. So look at this information so that you can understand it. And there's plenty of good Pantheon Git trainings. But what we're going to do right now is grab this whole thing, which is Git clone and then a bunch of other code inside this box. We're going to take the whole thing. I'm going to copy it. And inside my, let's see, hang on. So I'm going to move to my working directory. I'm going to take this information and clone the information. What that means is it will pull all of this code that's on the live site and put it into a version that I have here. And all of those files will go in here. It'll ask you for your password. That's your Pantheon password. So as you can see, it's pulling down a bunch of quote-unquote objects. And those are, the deltas are any of the changes that we have. And then you'll see those all reflected here in my working directory. So all of that stuff is now here. So now I am, if I go into that drive, which is Rahel test, I can say git status, always do git status, and it'll tell me, oh, okay, I'm on the branch master and I'm up to date. So I'm going to pull. This is equivalent to pulling. So let's say you just start with your work for the day. You're going to pull every time so that you can get any of the information that's there. We just cloned, so it's up to date. But in general, you're always going to pull first. That's the first thing you do. And you do it periodically because what if you're working on something and other people are also working on something? And now we can start to see this is everything inside the site. And one way to test this is I'm going to take this file, I'm going to duplicate it and call it test file 3. And that will show us that now our version on our site is out of date. And Git knows this. So when we use terminal to manage, we can say git status, and it'll tell us, oh, there's a new file that is not tracked. So we have to tell what to do with it. So we say git add, and I add a dot because if there's many different files, the dot will include all those extra files. Now, if I say git status, it'll say, okay, it's been it's tracking now, so it's green. And what we need to do is commit this. So I'm going to say commit, and I'm going to say the message -m is added a test file 3. So it's going to commit this, and then again, git status tells me that I am now on the branch, but I'm ahead by 1 commit, and I have to use git push to publish. I'm going to get push from the origin, which is us, to the master, which is Pantheon. And what that happens is now, on the Pantheon side, it's using git. Oh, I have to put my password. Then we know that it will sync the code on the dev environment. So it's going to take all my changes that I just added and put it onto the development environment. So so what that means is now that file, which is themes test theme test3 file, now exists. So let's go take a look at it. So it's under themes, test themes, text file 3 doc test. Wait a second. Themes test theme test file 3. Oh, I have to reload a couple times. Themes, test, theme, test file 3. Okay, there's that file, test file 3. Now let's convince ourselves by doing it another time. We'll make test file 4 and we'll put something else in there. This is a test 4 message, okay? So one more time, we're out of date. So git status all the time. I'm going to git add. Status is going to say, okay, this is now being tracked, so commit it. And my status is now I'm ahead because I've committed that, and I need to push it to the master. So git push origin master. It's going to ask me for my pass. And that's going to sync on this side, meaning it's going to take that message that I did, it's going to add those files that I added, and it's going to put it onto the hosting. And now test file 4 should be there. And there it is. It's a test 4 message. Okay. So now we're up to date with dev. Let's say something happens where catastrophically I lose all my work on my machine. Not to worry, because we have it all still in this host. And it's also why we use sometimes external services like Bitbucket or GitHub to store the code so that everybody can use it. Not to worry, I'm going to go grab it again. I'm going to go back to my terminal. I'm going to go back to my folder. I'm going to git clone that whole thing into a new document called Rahel test. It's going to ask for my password. And I'm back in business. I have your code, all the code that's been up to date from here. And it should have everything that we've done, including test 4, test 3, which I can confirm by here in my Rahel test. Okay, it's still syncing. There, it's synced now. Inside themes, inside test form, I have test 2, 3, 4. I have all the different things that we've added up to date. So again, the history of the code commits is here in Git, and that can be added. Now, a good way to use this is for something like themes. So right now, when you have a Drupal 8 site, it's just a straight blue and white site. There is a thing called appearance, and these are all the different themes. So for example, let's make this the default. Then when I go into this in a new window, that main landing, it'll look a little different. It won't be blue. It'll be that other one. So one thing that's great is Drupal offers themes that we can go and grab. And you're going to look at Drupal project themes, Drupal project. Let's look in here and then get themes out of it. Hang on. Okay, Drupal project theme. Let's go get a version for Drupal 8. Let's go find some code that somebody else has created. Bootstrap is popular. How about, yeah, something like business, that's fine. Or Nexus, that's also fine. So let's take a look. So what I look for is when was the last time it was updated. This one is a little old. It's been originally in 13, but looks like it's been recently updated, May 26th. That's pretty good. So we're going to download a bundle of this. I'm going to take that folder and unpack it. I'm going to take that actual thing, and that's a theme. So it goes into the themes directory. So we go to here, themes. I'm going to put it here in this themes directory. So now what's happened? I've taken a theme, put it into the themes directory, and now we're out of date, right? Let's go into our drive. Status is going to tell me I'm out of date because I just added something. Let's add everything inside of that. It will add that. Okay, those are just some error message. I'm going to say get status. It's added it. So there are a lot of files related to that theme. That's fine. Then I'm going to say status I have, okay, get commit. I say adds the Nexus theme with that message. Get status is now I'm ahead. I can push from the origin, which is me, to the master, which is there. It's going to sync after it asks my password. Now here it's syncing on the dev site. And then here, what that means is since we've added a new theme, that new theme is going to become available to us fairly soon as it syncs. So now all that code for the Nexus theme, which looks kind of like this is what it looks like, is going to be added to our site. So now inside our appearance, that Nexus theme is now available to us because the code for it was added. Oh, we're unable to load your git commit log. So we'll reload and see what's happening. Okay, well,